be wondering why I felt that I could just talk about openly plagiarizing this book, and it's because it is an open source book. People are allowed to use it however they want. The creator was very generous in that way. And so I lifted tables in here for character creation. Pretty much, this is one of the few things that hasn't been changed. One of these pages, this is the press proof. So if you see something cut off in the text, that means I just have to fix the margins before I send it to the printer. But this page, I believe the background is virtually unchanged because some of these things are just timeless. Let's see. Yeah, so you can see the parallel. Now, there's our designed a little neater than mine. It's just an aesthetic choice I made to make that look little more indie and not fight it. But yeah, some of these, so if the backgrounds seem like they don't all fit like a superhero, that's because I changed very few of them. Like I changed Con Artist, but the rest of them I think are virtually unchanged from what Cairn did. And some of the other ones I changed quite a bit because they didn't fit. And then I have this gag in here where you can take like a Silver Age naming convention for your character and then, alter it. Because some of anything that isn't tied to a numerical value, I have in the book that the idea is that sometimes people know what they want when you present them with what they don't want, because they don't always know what they want, but they know when they don't like something. So anything not tied to a mechanical or a numerical value can be changed. And then you have to sacrifice something to change a numerical one. So the game's very modular in that way. And because most of my early role-playing experience was playing Rifts and the World of Darkness system, I don't like being passively a victim when someone attacks me, so I like to roll for defense. So that's why I have the tenacity stat, and then you just add your armor to that. And then instead of it being a pass-fail system, you have degrees of success. So however many degrees of success you got on the attack that they didn't absorb or evade, that's how much damage you do. So a +8 sword will do more damage than your fist because you have a potential of doing 8 more damage with it. And I have mechanics in there for, like, when someone's using a sword, they have reach on you, so having a +8 makes sense to me. But I have rules in there if there's a situation like if you're using an awkward device that it can do a lot of damage but not make you better at hitting. And then the last big change and / overlap here is if you look at the I have this section called specialties, and if you look at a Cairn character sheet, there is the inventory here. And so the thing that I've changed here is that your abilities are in place of your encumbrance. So you can still only have 10 things. So in Cairn, when you use a magic ability, it exhausts one of your inventory slots, and then you can't use that ability. Once you run out of empty inventory, then you can't use the ability. Like, you have to drop things, basically. And I've done that in Retcon, but if you have if your character is mighty and you put like mighty 10, and your character takes damage, you can have it so your character is weaker from taking the damage. And then the trade-off, if you don't have any abilities at all, is on a short rest, these all come back. So you have more energy if you take less powers. So that's where the game balance comes in. And it's worked pretty well in the games I've run so far. But I'm not someone who super worries about balance, so maybe someone who's more mathematical than me can go on that. And so each specialty is tied to a stat, and you can use these to improvise too. Like, in my comic recently, Hercules pulls a telephone pole out of the ground and hits a bunch of ninjas with it. So you can do that in the game by turning one of your specialty slots into a temporary ability. I hope that clears up to everybody how similar and different Retcon, the role-playing game, is from its source material, Cairn. And please bring up any questions you have with me, so I'll add them to the Kickstarter so other people will know, because I'm sure people have similar questions. And thanks for listening.